Good afternoon. Welcome to Today with Matt and Dave. This is our final show of the semester. I'm Matt Ricker.
And I'm Dave Forbath, and I don't have any...
Check the switch underneath. That might be it.
Yes, that's
yeah, okay.
That is
All
it.
right,
Okay.
good.
I was like, I was talking, I'm like, oh, there's nothing here. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that I can't believe this is our final show of the semester. It just flew by, as we say every semester.
Or every day, every show. It's
I know.
going faster and faster, and look at this, we're done.
I know.
Sadly. I mean, I guess it's a good and bad thing. It's good because breaks coming up.
And
bad
we'll
because
get
it's
some
finals
time.
and
Yeah.
another semester done.
Yeah.
But I will say I'm excited for the semester end.
Yeah.
It's been a long semester.
It went fast, but it feels long.
Yeah, no, it's...
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Bring on the spring. Bring on the spring. I'm ready for that.
I hope we don't have a crazy winter. Last year we got lucky because
We haven't had a crazy winter since our freshman year.
that was bad. Oh man,
that was awesome.
It was bad, but yeah, at the same time, like there were canceled classes. I think it was the first 5 Mondays of the spring semester.
We did not have class for the first. Yeah,
there was either a cancellation or a delay.
Yeah.
Most of the time there were delays, but oh man, it was crazy.
And I'll tell you, it's funny. I don't care if there's snow as long as I'm not home. Because if I'm home, then my dad's gonna be, pelting me with snowballs to go shovel the driveway. If I don't go outside and do it, he'll go pick me up and throw me out the window into the snow, and then
yeah, that's always no fun shoveling.
No, but it's fun when you don't have to do it.
Right. All right, so we're gonna get right into our news segment. The thing that's being most talked about in the post-election news is Trump's cabinet picks. They've been pretty interesting. I have to say, I don't really know most of them, but they'll be interesting to see how they do in the administration. Now, keep in mind that most of these positions, they're not definite. They require Senate confirmation, which they should have no trouble getting through the Senate hearings and confirmation hearings, because as you may know, both chambers of Congress are now controlled by the Republicans. So you now have the White House and as well as the whole Congress that are controlled by Republicans. So that's good news for Donald Trump. So I'm going to start with the most recent appointment, and that is a Treasury Secretary, Stephen Mnuchin. I hope I'm saying that right. But, he's responsible for the tax code and overseeing the IRS and anything to do with finances of the government, basically. And he's a former campaign finance chairman. Oh, I'm sorry. He was Donald Trump's campaign finance chairman, and he's the former Goldman Sachs executive that has deep roots in Hollywood but has no government experience. The next one is Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao, and she's a former labor secretary under George W. Bush. Health and Human Services, Tom Price. He's a Republican congressman from Georgia and an orthopedic surgeon who has led opposition to Obamacare. And Mr. Price has said the law interferes with the ability of patients and doctors to make medical decisions. That was a smart move that he appointed a congressman and a doctor, that has experience, treating patients. I think that was a good move. Next is Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross. He said that the United States must free itself from bondage and bad trade agreements. So that will be interesting there. Education Secretary is Betsy DeVos. She is the former chairwoman of the Michigan Republican Party. She is passionate believer about school choice and also a education advocate. UN ambassador, he nominated Nikki Haley, the governor of South Carolina. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Ben Carson, CIA Director Mike Pompeo, hope I'm saying that right, Attorney General Jeff Sessions. He is a senator from Alabama.
Also one of his biggest critics.
Yes.
Sessions had been on the Team Hate Trump from, I think, day one.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's interesting, like, the critics from that were against Mr. Trump and, always had harsh words for him. And
showing them respect, but I think they've hated on him, and I think it's shown a lot of maybe not respect. Maybe the word I'm thinking of is it's shown a lot of guts.
Yeah.
Well, guts for Trump to put them in
his cabinet.
Exactly. So it's like, this is showing that he's able to cooperate, and that yes, these men and women may not have been for me, but you know what? I can work with them. That's what he has to be. That's what he's believing in right now. Is right. I can work with them. Even though they may not like me, we're gonna have to work together, and they're gonna have to learn to suck it up, and I'm gonna have to learn to suck it up.
And there's some Democrats that are more more flexible and easygoing and willing to give Mr. Trump a chance. You have Senator Chuck Schumer of New York. He's going to be the new Senate Minority Leader for the Democrats, and he said he's been very professional. He looks forward to working with Mr. Trump, and I think that's the attitude you have to have when you're in government and you didn't necessarily support him. But yeah, no, and Jeff Sessions, he has come under fire because of racially charged comments and actions, and this is very likely to become an issue as he faces confirmation hearings. So I doubt this will really affect it. It might, but it's hit or miss. We'll have to see what happens with that. Hopefully he has backups for all these people, unless they're not confirmed in the Senate. For National Security Advisor, you have Mike Flynn. He's a retired Army Lieutenant General,
which I think is, honestly, out of all of them, that's his best pick.
Right.
And the reason I think that is, why would you not have a general, a retired man who spent his entire life protecting this country, as a security advisor, who's kind of controlling that? Why would you not? Right. It's like, I guess it's almost like a stupid question, It's now, and we've had these talks. It's like the things that seem like common sense are not common sense.
And the other thing is, it's just with these picks, you have to nominate people that have experience in these areas. And
exactly.
National Security Advisor, as you said, it's perfect.
And also, it's one of those things. National security has been such a big thing to talk about. Look what just happened at Ohio State, where they haven't confirmed that the attacker was an ISIS sympathizer, but they think the FBI was. It seems as if he was an ISIS sympathizer. He had said things like this, and it's one of those things. We're having more and more attacks on home soil. Mm-hmm. You need to have someone who's going to be in charge that's going to help eradicate that.
I agree, and it's all these attacks. They must be stopped. It's just really terrible. But the good thing about it, though, is that well, not good thing, but on a positive note, no one was killed.
Thank God.
In this attack, in this vicious attack. Just the suspect himself, a police officer shot and killed him.
Which the officer did. That guy should be hailed as a hero, because if you've read what he did from eyewitnesses, they all said that he told the assailant, or attacker, I should say, that put the weapon down or you're gonna get shot.
Yeah.
So it's not like he just shot first. He told him, if you don't put the weapon on, I'm going to shoot you.
Yeah.
So fair warning. So I think it's funny enough because
he followed protocol.
He did that, and there's no way that anyone can pull that around and be like, well, you just shot him. No. He let him know this. The kid had a butcher's knife too.
Yeah.
What would you? And that's the thing. People who are gonna go criticize the officers. What would you do in that instance if you had a person who obviously has something wrong with him because they're just trying to kill people? They come at you with a butcher's knife. What are you gonna do? Because
Yeah, are you just gonna stand there?
I'd love to meet the individual who said that they says, "Oh, I wouldn't shoot him." Yeah, okay. Dude, let me run at you with a fake butcher's knife, and I bet you'd still pull the trigger.
The people that criticize the officer in this have too much time on their hands.
Way too much.
Yeah,
and they obviously don't know what it's like to be in their shoes, and they have no right to criticize if they've never done it. It's one thing if they've done it, but they haven't.
Exactly. And the two closest advisors now to Mr. Trump, this has been announced weeks ago, but for White House Chief of Staff, he nominated Reince Priebus. I hope I'm saying that right. It's a complicated name. Bless you. And he is the chairman of the Republican National Committee. He stood by Trump every step of the way. And Steve Bannon, who is the former executive, of Breitbart News. Those two will be his closest advisor. Now, there has been so much speculation over the past few days on who he will pick as Secretary of State. And he has 6 contenders currently. You have John Bolton, a former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations under George W. Bush, Bob Corker, a senator from Tennessee and chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Then you have former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, and campaign officials have said that he is now the leading contender for the job. This is according to the New York Times. Then you have John Kelly, a retired 4-star Marine general whose son was killed in combat in Afghanistan. Then you have Zalmay Khalilzad, a former United States ambassador to Afghanistan. Also is David Petraeus, the former 4-star Army general and director of the CIA, who resigned amid a scandal involving the mishandling of classified material, which I think, that's really a shame. You have a former presidential candidate that deleted over 30,000 emails, and you have I'm not saying that David Petraeus what he did wasn't wrong, but if you compare someone who used to be Secretary of State that deleted thousands and thousands of emails, meanwhile, this guy, he leaked classified material to a girlfriend. Come on now. What? It's just I don't understand that, how it happens like that. But anyway, then Mitt Romney is the final one. He was the 2012 Republican presidential nominee and former governor of Massachusetts. So he actually had dinner with Mr. Trump the other night at a French restaurant in one of Trump's buildings.
And we know that Romney is one of the, if not the biggest Trump hater of all.
Yeah, the comments that he made, he said something to the extent like Donald Trump is a phony, and is something like a con or a con artist. That's what he said.
Which is interesting, just because he is right now one of the finalists for Secretary of State.
Exactly.
So that is kind of a bigger position. And something else I think, Matt, you should mention.
Yeah.
I don't mean to take your fire. We're going to talk about this, but Trump, how he did come out and say he is going to cut off all of his business ties. I don't know if you have those notes.
I did hear about that this morning. I was reading a article in the New York Times that there's concern because he said he was gonna step away from his business, all business operations, but he's not clear. It's not clear whether he meant entirely, which I'm sure he does. I mean, come on, he's smart enough to know that he's got business. If he has business ties and is president, there's going to be a huge conflict of interest there. What do you think of that whole thing?
Oh, from what I read, it sounded like he was going to do it. I believe what he should have done and what he should do, and I know he's kind of done that already, is if he's going to, he steps away and let Ivanka, his daughter, run the company, because 1, she is absolutely brilliant. 2, she is more than capable of running the company, because she's kind of already been doing that since this campaign. He stepped back and she was really running the show. I don't think there's an issue. If I'm him, let it step back, and
Yeah.
let her do it.
I think that's his best bet, handing it to one of his kids, and Ivanka is definitely a qualified candidate for that. And then just to finish it up, Director of National Intelligence, Defense Secretary, Interior Secretary, Agricultural Secretary, Labor, Energy, Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Homeland Security, EPA Administrator, and U.S. Trade Representative. Those are all vacant positions right now that he has to fill. So that's quite a lot, and he has to do this. I think he has a deadline that he has to do just to ensure background checks and stuff like that. Yeah, no, it's a lot of people. And quickly, I also want to talk about this whole recount effort. I'm not sure if you've been following that, but I'm sure you have. And now Wisconsin is the first state to start the presidential election recount, which, come on now. And
they just gave him Michigan. They just gave him, after a few weeks, I saw the notification that he has 302, she has, 230, 232?
Yeah. Let's see. I have the electoral map right now. This is old, but this is in Michigan is 16.
He got the one there. They announced it, but not even that.
Yeah.
With the whole recount, Jill Stein, I know, was big on that, but yet Milo, I think it was Milo, who people may not know Milo, he is a freelance journalist, he's English,
okay,
who is very, he's very good to read, really interesting read, there's no BS. He's not owned by anyone, so he speaks his mind. Facts. Also, but it's facts, a lot of facts. And then you put out a statistic like, how come every state that they're counting for recount, Trump won? How come they don't do anything where Clinton won? And he just left food for thought. Interesting enough.
And the other thing is, back during one of the debates when he was asked, when Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton were asked that, will you accept the results of the election? There was this whole uproar. Because he said, what did he say? He said something.
I don't know the exact words of it.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a clear yes or no. And oh boy, there was such a backlash.
For that, but yet now she's not.
And no matter who you support, come on now.
It's
all
the
backlash, and meanwhile, if Hillary Clinton won, there wouldn't be any talk about it. She'd be declared the winner. People would move on. No talk.
No, that's the point. It's the same thing with these people needing safe spaces. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
College. I'm sorry. I've talked to my friends at other schools. No,
ridiculous.
Thank God none of them have had.
They got too much time on their hands.
Well, thank God none of my friends who go to other schools, they said they don't have any of those. But if I met you and you should need a safe space, I'm not gonna hit you in the head, in the face, because you really. So if we had a nation like Russia, for instance, or Korea, or China, just come over here and tell us we own you. All those people that need a safe space, okay, you own us. We'll listen to you. That's what they're gonna say.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I watched a video of American University, and I have friends who go to American University. American University, Jan, you should be ashamed of yourselves for saying stupid things like this. Fidel Castro died a few days ago. You know what? That's great. That's great for the world that he's dead. He is a dictator. He was a horrible individual. I don't want to hear anyone say, well, he helped with healthcare. Really? Oh, he helped with education. Really? No. Cuba does not have a great education. If it was so great, how can people swim 60 some odd miles to come to the United States? They would not be leaving their country if it was such a great country. Fidel Castro is a dictator who is a horrible man who killed anyone who talked against him. You talk against him, you get publicly executed.
Yeah,
I know the people that were. It's the millennials too. The millennials that were praising him. None of them are Cuban. None of them have any Cuban background, and that's what annoys me. You millennials, you guys are so informed. Because if you talk to anyone who has any Cuban descent, I know some Cuban friends of mine. They were partying like it was 1999. They Miami, for instance. Oh,
Same
they're the
here.
number one. Miami was in uproars of joy.
There was celebrations going on down there. The other thing is Colin Kaepernick. He
doesn't know what he's talking about. Just, I didn't want to talk about that because he is so lost. He played. The sense is we'll talk about that in sports. Actually, we'll
good idea.
But it's so informed. The millennials. Oh my God, he was such a great. He did so much for their education and their healthcare.
Exactly.
That's not true.
Exactly. It's really
whoever says that he's a great man. Are those the same reporters that say he wins 100% of the vote every time there's an election? Because listen, if you talk against him, you were dead. You were died or were thrown in jail.
You know,
if it's such a great country, how come you have all these people immigrating to the United States? If it's great, why would you leave? Why would you want to leave if you have such a great life?
Exactly.
It's sad. It's sad to see how lost our generation is.
You know, and going back, and we'll continue to we'll come back when we talk about sports and the whole Castro thing. But going back to the recount, this is an updated thing from Fox. Trump has 306 delegates, and Hillary Clinton has 232 delegates. Now, as we said, Michigan has 16. Donald Trump was declared the winner there the other day. Wisconsin will begin recounting these votes this upcoming week, I think right now as we speak. And she raised millions and millions of dollars of our peers' money, and to put that towards the recount. Like, how sad is that? Taking money from people. I mean, really? And meanwhile, in some states, she was not even on the ballot. She was not even on the ballot. She was a third-party candidate and not on the ballot.
You're talking about Jill Stein here?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Clinton. I was like, what do you mean? No. Jill Stein, listen, she's out there. I don't know where she is. I guess, not even that. Okay, say Wisconsin, Trump loses Wisconsin. He still is winning. It's one of those things. If it's like, say, enough, then of course. But Jill Stein, you literally won like 1 million votes total. Go home.
And the other thing is, Clinton said she would accept the results of the election.
And originally,
now she's joining Jill Stein in the recount effort. How is that going to?
It's called sore losers, and it's called in Clinton's corner. She goes, "If I don't win, I'm being thrown in prison." I understand Trump said they're not going to continue to look into that, but come on, people. Someone will be, and she knows her only way out of prison is presidency. And
the other thing is they only have until December 13th to count these votes. And she wants these votes counted by hand. Precinct by precinct, meaning county by county or town by town.
Meaning people who get paid off by people who get paid off.
And meanwhile, they said that local officials, county clerks, and their staff are probably going to have to work nights and weekends in order to meet this deadline. But after December 13th, when the Electoral College comes together and meets and certifies the election results, that's it. Then it's written in stone for the most part. So that's our little rant. I'm sorry, people, if
you're being offended. Okay, I'm sorry. Just honestly, I don't want to talk to you.
I mean, I don't. It's not that common that I go on mini rants like that, but I had to get it out there. I mean, this whole recount thing is making me angry. It's a waste of time. Waste of time, money, and resources. That's the easiest way to put it. Okay, so that is all for, one other thing, not to jump around anymore, but, Donald Trump is actually in Indiana today with, Mike Pence, and, he is standing with, employees of Carrier, air conditioning company there.
Heard about that.
And, he is saving 1,000 jobs, despite he's getting criticism for this on certain angles. So whatever he does, it seems like he's not happy. People are not happy.
People never be happy. Someone's going to complain about something else.
I don't get it. Too much time on your hands. That's what I have to say about that.
Listen, the people that complain are the ones at home on their computer who don't have lives.
But he said, he tweeted this morning, getting ready to leave the great state of Indiana and meet the hardworking and wonderful people of Carrier AC. So the event there went well, I believe. So that wraps up our news segment for now. And when we come back, we'll have the Billboard Top 10 and some sports. So stay with us, and we'll be right back.